We have been lied to for millennia. From the fountain of youth to the alchemist's tone, humanity has harbored a singular, obsessive desire to conquer the finality of death. We view aging as a disease to be cured, a hurdle to be jumped. We look at the Greenland shark, a creature that drifts through the abyssal chill of the North Atlantic for 5 centuries, and we feel a surge of envy. We call it a marvel of nature, but we do not see the horror hidden in its biological clock. We do not understand that longevity is not a gift, it is a sentence. What if the price of an extended life is the total erosion of what it means to be human? What if we were granted the lifespan of the Greenland shark, only to find that we have become something unrecognizable, something putrid, stagnant, and blind? Today, we peel back the skin of the ocean's oldest vertebrate to reveal a nightmare of biological decay. This is the dark reality of the 500-year life. This is discovered. To understand the danger of longevity, we must first look at the creature we seek to emulate. The Greenland shark, Somniosus microcephalus, is not a majestic predator. It is a sluggish, scavenging monster that exists in a state of near-suspended animation. It lives in waters so frigid that its metabolism slows to a crawl, digesting a single meal over weeks. It grows at the agonizing rate of 1 centimeter per year. It does not reach sexual maturity until it is 150 years old. But look closer at the cost of this endurance. The majority of Greenland sharks are infested with a specific parasitic copepod called Microcephalus. These white, worm-like creatures attach themselves to the shark's corneas, slowly eating away at the tissue until the host is rendered functionally blind. For hundreds of years, these sharks drift through the crushing pressure of the deep, guided only by the faint scent of rotting carcasses, their eyes clouded by parasites that glow in the pitch-black water. This is the prototype for extreme longevity, a slow, sightless existence in a tomb of ice consumed by the very environment that sustains it. Now project this biological reality onto the human form. If we were to bypass the natural boundary of cellular division and extend our lives to match the shark, we would not be extending our youth, we would be extending our decay. The human body is not built for the weight of centuries. Our cells are governed by telomeres, protective caps at the ends of our DNA that shorten with agni division. When they are gone, the cell dies. If we were to artificially manipulate these telomeres to live for 500 years, we would invite a catastrophic surge in cellular mutation. To live like the shark, we would have to become a factory of cancer. Our bodies would become a battleground of malformed tissue, a chaotic mess of uncontrolled growth that the immune system could no longer identify as self. We would be a collection of tumors held together by sheer medical intervention. Furthermore, there is the issue of biological toxicity. The Greenland shark's flesh is saturated with trimethylamine oxide and high concentrations of urea. This is a biological antifreeze that prevents its blood from turning to crystals in the sub-zero deep, but this makes its flesh neurotoxic. To a human, eating the meat of an old shark causes a state of profound intoxication, muscle tremors, and eventual respiratory failure. If we were to adapt our own chemistry to survive the metabolic slowing required for a 400-year lifespan, our own tissues would become toxic. We would be walking chemical hazards, our breath smelling of ammonia, our sweat laced with the waste products of a body that can no longer filter itself. We would be preserved like a specimen in a jar of formaldehyde, rotting from the inside even as we remain clinically alive. But the biological horror is eclipsed by the psychological collapse. The human brain is a finite organ. It is an intricate web of synapses that requires pruning and forgetting to function. If we lived for 500 years, we would reach the threshold of cognitive entropy. Imagine a human being at the age of 300. Their mind would be a cluttered ruin of overlapping memories, a chaotic archive where the face of a child from 2 seconds ago is indistinguishable from a stranger met yesterday. We would suffer from a form of ultra-dementia, not a loss of memory, but a crushing surplus of it. The personality would dissolve under the sheer weight of time. We would become gerontological zombies, entities that move and speak but possess no coherent self. We would be ghosts haunted by our own history, trapped in a loop of traumatic recollections that we can neither process nor escape. In this state, the concept of love or family becomes meaningless. The social fabric of humanity is woven around the rhythm of birth, growth, and death. When death is removed, the thread snaps. Then, there is the societal nightmare of the rise of the global gerontocracy. Science advances one funeral at a time. Imagine a world where the political leaders, the billionaires, and the cultural gatekeepers are the same people for quattro secoli. They would hold on to their power with the iron grip of a prehistoric scavenger. There would be no room for new ideas, no space for revolution, and no resources for the young. The world would become a stagnant pool, a museum of the past run by living fossils. Humanity would stop being a living species and become a static monument to its own vanity. To achieve the shark's metabolic efficiency, we would likely have to spend centuries in a state of sensory deprivation, perhaps submerged in cold, nutrient-rich tanks, our neural activity lowered to a hum. We would trade the sun and the vibrancy of the surface for a lightless, bore's frozen existence in a basement of life support systems. We would be slaves to the pharmaceutical giants and organ-harvesting cartels that promise to maintain a decaying body. We would be the ultimate consumer customer that can leave the store. We must ask ourselves why we are so terrified of the end. Death is the editor of life. It is what gives the story a beginning, a middle, and a meaning. By seeking the lifespan of the Greenland shark, we are trying to remove the punctuation from a sentence. The result is not an infinite story, it is a meaningless rambling mess. The Greenland shark is a creature of the dark, the cold, and the dead. If we were to step into its skin, we would feel only the crushing pressure of the water and the toxic burn of our own blood. We are currently witnessing the first steps of this catastrophe. As medical science pushes the average lifespan toward 100, we are already seeing the cracks. The rising rates of Alzheimer's and the loneliness of the elderly are the first whispers of a much louder scream. We are not prepared for the centenarians we have now. We are utterly ill-equipped for the pentacentennials of the future. This realization that longevity is a trap is not meant to depress you, it is meant to wake you up. We must stop viewing death as an enemy and start viewing life as a resource to be valued for its intensity, not its duration. The Greenland shark is a warning, not an idol. It is a reminder that some things are meant to be fast, warm, and temporary. To live for 500 years is to witness the death of everyone you love and the exhaustion of agony joy you possess. It is the ultimate psychological torture to be unable to leave the party long after the music has stopped and the lights have gone out. The abyss is deep, and it is patient. It does not care if you are happy. It only cares that you are their slow-moving piece of meat in a cold, dark world. Geology operates on a scale of eons. The shark operates on a scale of centuries, but the human heart operates on a scale of moments. Value the moment, because the floor is thinner than you think, and the end is what makes the journey worth the walk. If you have found this investigation into the dark side of immortality unsettling, stay with us. There are many more biological breaches and scientific horrors waiting to be unburied. Subscribe to Discovered. Hit the notification bell. Do not miss our next report, where we will examine the next impossible or almost possible scenario that threatens the very definition of humanity. In a world of comfortable lies, we provide the cold, clinical evidence of reality. See you in the next investigation. And remember, fast is temporary, but the cold, sightless wisdom of the shark is a cage you may never escape. The end is beneath you.